Yemen, one of the poorest nations in the Arab world, has been destroyed by a civil war since 2011. Here, we'll explain what's driving the conflict and who's involved. The war stems from the failure of a democratic process that was intended to restore peace to Yemen after an uprising in 2011 caused Yemen's longtime authoritarian president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, to give up power to his deputy, Abdullah Mansur Hadi. As president, Mr. Hadi faced a number of challenges, including jihadist assaults, a rebel movement in the south, security personnel's continued devotion to Saleh, as well as corruption, unemployment, and food poverty. The Houthi organization, properly known as Ansar Allah, exploited the new president's vulnerability. The Houthi, who support Yemen's Zaydi Shia Muslim minority and have launched a number of rebellions against Saleh in the last decade, took control of their northern stronghold of Sodar province in early 2014 and started marching southwards. Many ordinary Yemenis, mainly Sunni, were disillusioned with the transition and backed the rebels, who eventually took over the capital, Sana'a, in late 2014 and early 2015. After that, the Houthis and Saleh's security forces sought to seize control of the whole nation, forcing Mr. Hadi to leave overseas in March 2015. Saudi Arabia and 8 other largely Sunni Arab states started an air attack in Yemen to eradicate the Houthis and Iranian influence and restore Mr. Hadi's administration, alarmed by the growth of a group they felt was supported militarily by regional Shia power and competitor Iran. The United States, United Kingdom, and France provided logistical and intelligence assistance to the coalition. Saudi leaders predicted that the battle would last just a few weeks when it began. However, the military has been stuck in a stalemate for the last 6 years. After arriving in the port city of Aden in August 2015, coalition ground soldiers assisted in driving the Houthis and their allies out of most of the south. On the other hand, the rebels have not been forced out of Sana'a or most of the northwestern regions. In 2017, the Houthis survived the collapse of their partnership with Ali Abdullah Saleh. After seeming to swap sides, the former president was assassinated while escaping Sana'a. The coalition and its allies, now joined by Saleh loyalists, sought to break the stalemate in 2018 by mounting a large-scale attack to seize the Red Sea city of Hudaida from the Houthis, whose port is the main lifeline for millions of Yemenis facing hunger. The warring groups agreed to a truce after 6 months of heavy warfare. The deal called on them to redeploy their troops from Hudaida, set up a prisoner exchange system, and resolve the situation in Taz, which has been under siege by the Houthis since 2015. Hundreds of captives have been freed, but troops have not been completely redeployed, and the siege of Taz continues, increasing worries that the struggle for Hudaida's port might begin at any time, resulting in a humanitarian disaster. In 2021, the Houthis attacked Marib, the government's last bastion in the north and the capital of an oil-rich region. The United Nations has appealed for a ceasefire, stating that a full-scale battle for the province capital will jeopardize the lives of 2 million people and result in widespread displacement. The Houthis have also increased their assaults on Saudi Arabia with ballistic missiles and drones, frequently targeting civilian property. Iran is accused by Saudi and US authorities of smuggling supplies for advanced weaponry, as well as conventional weapons like as rifles and rocket-propelled grenade launchers, into Yemeni rebel-held territory, in violation of a UN arms embargo. The accusation has been denied by Iran. President Hadi's administration has been located in Aden, Yemen's southern port city, for the last 6 years, but it has failed to deliver basic services and security, while the president remains in Saudi Arabia. The separatist Southern Transitional Council, which is an ally in the battle against the Houthis but seeks an independent South Yemen, which existed from 1967 until 1990, when it was reunited with the North, has also challenged the government's authority there. STC-aligned troops backed by the UAE drove Saudi-backed Hadi supporters out of Aden and other neighboring provinces in 2018, accusing the president of corruption and ties to Islamists. The dispute came to an end when Saudi Arabia invaded in late 2019, months after the UAE announced the evacuation of its forces from Yemen, in return for withdrawing its personnel from Aden and integrating them into the military and security forces. The STC was granted a place in government under the Riyadh Agreement. However, the agreement has yet to be completely implemented, and emotions are still high. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and the local offshoot of the rival Islamic State group have also taken advantage of the turmoil, carrying out fatal strikes and capturing territory from the government in the south. The chances of a nationwide truce and a political settlement are thin with the escalation of hostilities in 2021. However, changes to US policy toward Yemen revealed by President Joe Biden in 2021 assisted UN attempts to restart peace negotiations. He reversed the Trump administration's designation of the Houthis as a terrorist organization and withdrew funding for the Saudi-led coalition's offensive activities. According to the United Nations, the conflict has caused terrible amounts of misery. Cholera outbreak. During Yemen's civil war, a major cholera outbreak had emerged. Over 320,000 cases have been documented, according to the UN Humanitarian Relief Coordinator in July 2017. He further related the outbreak to the conflict and foreign troops assisting the rebels. Since 2016, it has resulted in 2.5 million suspected cases and roughly 4,000 linked fatalities, making it the largest cholera epidemic in recorded history as of October 2017. It was reported in December 2020 that the war had killed an estimated 233,000 people, with 131,000 of them dying as a result of indirect factors such as a shortage of food, healthcare, and infrastructure. As a direct consequence of the war, tens of thousands of people have been killed or injured, including over 10,000 children. By the beginning of November 2021, the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project in the United States had documented almost 147,000 deaths. Meanwhile, the Yemen Data Project, a monitoring organization, has linked 8,780 civilian fatalities to Saudi-led coalition air attacks. All sides to the conflict, according to UN experts, have even committed war crimes. He further related the outbreak to the conflict and foreign troops assisting the rebels. Since 2016, it has resulted in 2.5 million suspected cases and roughly 4,000 linked fatalities, making it the largest cholera outbreak in recorded history as of October 2017. It was reported in December 2020 that the war had killed an estimated 233,000 people, with 131,000 of them dying as a result of indirect factors such as a shortage of food, healthcare, and infrastructure. As a direct consequence of the war, tens of thousands of people have been killed or injured, including over 10,000 children. By the beginning of November 2021, the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project in the United States had documented almost 147,000 deaths. Meanwhile, the Yemen Data Project, a monitoring organization, has linked 8,780 civilian fatalities to Saudi-led coalition air attacks. All sides to the conflict, according to UN experts, have even committed war crimes. 4 million people have been forced to evacuate their homes and more than 20.7 million people, or 71% of the population, need humanitarian aid or protection to survive. There are 5 million people on the verge of starvation and around 50,000 people who are currently facing famine-like circumstances. According to the UN, an estimated 2.3 million children under the age of 5 are critically malnourished, with 400,000 at danger of dying if not treated. 7.8 million children have no access to school or even the most basic forms of water and sanitation. There have been several reports of children being forced into battle, in addition to the shortage of resources for children. As shooting firearms at a young age is normalized in Yemen, children are tempted to fire weapons on behalf of the Houthis in return for monetary gain or social status. Many militias see children as important assets or a strategic benefit in combat. Yemen has a number of treaties with the United Nations, including one that addresses the care of children. and these children are being deprived of their rights. 20 million people lack access to basic healthcare, with barely half of the country's 3,500 medical institutions fully operational and 20% of districts without physicians. 1 in every 2 persons also lacks access to clean drinking water. As a consequence, officials have been grappling with the world's greatest cholera epidemic, which has resulted in 2.5 million suspected cases and 4,000 fatalities since 2016. The COVID-19 epidemic put further more burden on the healthcare sector. By the end of October 2021, the government had recorded 9,800 confirmed cases and 1,880 fatalities. However, due to restricted testing, delays in seeking treatment, and the Houthis' unwillingness to record cases and fatalities in regions under their control, since May 2020, the real statistics are estimated to be substantially higher. It also concerns the West because of the danger of attacks emerging from the nation as it grows more unstable, such as those carried out by Al-Qaeda or its affiliates. According to the United Nations, the country is experiencing the greatest humanitarian disaster in the last 100 years as of April 2021. According to the head of Muslim Hands Yemen program, the country is experiencing famine, with 80% of the population of over 30 million in need of international aid. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.